You're tuned into Recovery TV, the voice of hope, with your host, John J. Tassoni Jr. Discussions and information on addiction and mental health issues. Here's your host, John J. Tassoni Jr., with today's guest.
Welcome to another edition of Recovery TV, and I'm your host, John Tassoni. We're going to talk today about gambling, and my guest today is Desiree Soto from the Rhode Island lot. She's with PGS, Problem Gambling Services. But before we start, I want to talk to you about Narcan. Please get it. It's free. Put it in your purse, put it in your car. You got to take it out at night because the weather is a hindrance to it, but it saves lives. We're losing too many young folks. Thank you for that, and I appreciate you getting some. Desiree Soto, welcome.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us today. So tell my viewers what you do over at the lot.
So at the lot, we have the Problem Gambling Service Program that is run through the Rhode Island Lottery, where it's the treatment program for individuals that are suffering from problem gambling and their family members as well. So we have a lot of clients in treatment, about 85 clients right now in treatment, and that includes family members as well. So individuals that have peer services, so someone with lived experience who's helping them through this process, and getting some counseling and therapy as well.
Has the list of individuals risen since now we have the app on the phone?
Not necessarily. I know that that is a concern, and we are very much concerned about that, and I think in the near future it definitely will be, because we know one of the risk factors for problem gambling is proximity to a casino, and there's not a lot of research right now on it because iGaming is so new, but when that proximity is right in your hand, there is a concern for that. But we haven't seen a rise in people seeking treatment right now because of the iGaming at this time.
Do you also take in Massachusetts residents into the program?
We can if they are gambling in Rhode Island.
Right.
And or if they have insurance or no insurance or underinsured, depending on the situation.
Yeah, because when I make the loop around Bally's and then go down to Middle Spring Avenue, sometimes I see a lot of Massachusetts cars pulling into Bally's. That's why I asked that question.
Yeah, we do have some in treatment that are from Massachusetts if they don't have insurance, but most of our clients live in Rhode Island.
Yeah. So what are you working on?
So March is Problem Gambling Awareness Month. So we have a ton of projects going on right now where we're really trying to spread messaging on problem gambling and the awareness of that, where we are in collaboration with Bally's Casino, along with Epic Global Solutions and the Rhode Island Council on Problem Gambling. So we have 4 big projects that we're working on right now. I would say the biggest one right now that we've been really promoting is the College Challenge with the Rhode Island Game Changer. I don't know if you've heard about that one lately, but we've been doing a lot of promotion around that one. It's for 18 to 21-year-olds, 25-year-olds actually, sorry, for certain colleges in Rhode Island. And we chose these colleges because these colleges have specifically reached out to us to do problem gambling awareness for their classes, for the professors, for their counseling centers, or we have done presentations for them. So we are working with this group of individuals to create some sort of messaging, because we've talked about before with like the Gen Zers, right? We don't speak their language. We don't know how to reach them. We don't know how to get messaging to them. And the research says that when it comes to the tools that we have in the apps, only about 1% of individuals actually use the responsible gaming tools. So the goal is to try to get individuals to use some of these tools. So we figured, why not go to the source, right? Let's figure out how do we get them to help us get this message out there, whether it be through artwork, a short poem, story, something, whether it be a slogan, a picture, or something, where they're putting the message out there, something that resonates with their generation, where we can actually encourage people to use these tools and just raise that awareness when it comes to problem gambling. So what we've done is we've reached out to these schools, we've done social media, things like that, to be able to let them know that we have this challenge going on. And there's scholarship money attached to it as well. So there's 6 available prizes, and they'll win the Nancy Murray Award as well. As we know, Nancy Murray is really huge in this field in Rhode Island. And so to honor her, They will win the Nancy Murray Award, and they will also win money towards their tuition for school.
So, stop right there.
Yeah.
So they don't actually get the money. It goes to the school on behalf of you so they can pay their tuition, correct?
Well, they will get the money, and they will pay it towards their school.
What happens if they don't?
Who knows?
Who knows?
I don't know.
All right, okay.
But that's the goal, you know, is for them
Yeah.
to be able to do it towards that. And most people think about it with everything going on right now in the state of the world. Most people want that money because there's a lot of funding that's being lost in that
Right,
department. So
right.
people can't really pay for school right now. I know that that's really difficult for people. So we figured that's the best thing for them, to be able to offer them that
Yeah.
instead of something
great
else.
idea.
You know, and so there's 6 available prizes for that. And they will submit it through the Rhode Island GameChanger.com, and all of the rules and regulations for that are on there. They have to be an active student in one of those schools. And then it's for PGAM. The deadline is March 28th for that. And they will also be invited to our annual RICPG Problem Gambling Conference, the annual conference, and be recognized in front of everyone and show their artwork, and something that we can eventually use on billboards, commercials, wherever we can actually put this
Yeah,
information
yeah.
out there so
Great
that
idea.
it resonates with that generation of individuals.
Yeah, great idea. And what else?
We also have a limit setting challenge. So what Bally's is going to do specifically is they're going to increase messaging through the iGaming app, since it is new. And we don't have too much data on that. They're going to increase messaging for that age demographic from 21 to 24 about responsible gaming tools, and just to encourage people to really use the limit setting, and time limits, things like that. Because most people, right, when you open any type of service, you have all these terms and conditions at the beginning, and most people just click agree, 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 and no one pays attention.
Right.
And so we recognize that, and we figured, okay, let's kind of increase messaging during this time with some of that information when it comes to these tools to remind people that, hey, this exists, and what better time to do it during Problem Gambling Awareness Month. It's March Madness, you know, there's a lot of sports going on during this time, and so they really want to increase the messaging. And it started off, I believe, as just something that they were going to do in Rhode Island, but because they figured it was such a good idea, I believe it's a service that they're going to offer on all of their platforms.
That's great.
So they've been really invested in helping us get a lot of this messaging across, and we've been meeting with them weekly for the last few months now, our team, trying to get any idea possible out to figure out how do we spread this information out to people, because as we've talked about many times, right, it's there, it's a problem, people know about it, but people don't understand the severity of the problem. And so the lottery is very committed to helping people. Bally's is very committed to helping people. The RICPG, of course, you know, we have all these resources. We're also doing a mentor challenge where we are going to do like an info type session for parents, teachers, coaches, and give them some information and tools as well, so they have an understanding of how do I talk to my athletes, how do I talk to my children. Give them like a readiness guide of what are some resources, how do I know what are the signs and symptoms of problem gambling so that I can help my kid or my student if they see something happening, because gaming is also an issue, you know, the video games and things like that, which people don't really pay much attention to either.
Until it's too late.
Until it's too late.
We got to
sometimes.
take a quick break. I want to talk more about this when we come back.
Yeah.
You're watching Recovery TV, and I'm your host, John Tassoni. We'll be right back after these messages.
And now, back to Recovery TV with your host, John J. Tassoni Jr. Recovery TV is made possible by our supporting sponsors and our title sponsor, AdCare. Now, here's John and today's guest.
Welcome back to Recovery TV, and I'm your host, John Tassoni. My guest today is Desiree Soto from Problem Gambling Services, run out of the Rhode Island State Lottery. So welcome again, and thank you for what you do. Obviously, there's been a lot of issues. You know, some of the stories I hear with the amount of money that these kids are running up on mommy and daddy's credit card or their own credit card. And I think you mentioned in the first segment you have about 85, is it? 85 people in treatment. What is the demographics of that 85?
That varies anywhere from 18 to somewhere in their 60s. We don't have a ton of youth in treatment right now. I know that that is a big concern because we know that the research says 18 to 35, specifically sports betting, is really high-risk population. But we don't have anyone right now that's within that 18 to 20-ish range. I'd say right now, on average, it's in the late 20s and 40s is our average.
Okay, what about like male, female?
We have more males in treatment than we do females. Typically, it's more males than women. We do see the women rising slightly. For instance, last month in January, typically our numbers, our assessment numbers do go up. We average about 4 to 5 admissions per month. But after the holidays, New Year's resolutions, a lot of individuals are having their New Year's resolutions to either stop gambling altogether or cut down. And so they are seeking treatment. So we had 10 admissions in January.
Oh, wow.
And of those, we had 3 or 4 women, which is a little rare. We don't often have that many women seeking treatment. But
Do you have, Desiree, do you have enough clinicians to service Rhode Island?
we have about 17 clinicians all throughout Rhode Island, and that includes 3 agencies that we work with. We work with East Bay Community Action Program, Elwyn, which was formerly FHR, and Bridgemark. Those are the 3 agencies that we work with, and so we send referrals to them, and they offer peer and counseling as well. We're always looking to recruit anybody we possibly can to help with this issue.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an ongoing recruitment because
Yes.
This is not going to get any better. It's going to get progressively worse, especially when you figure out, the kids figure out that they can go to Bally's at 18 and get the app and put it on their phone and derive betting right from the couch, you know, or the chair at home, you know. So it's something that I think we all, as a community, need to be very mindful of when we go out there, because just a few bets could really make an impact on a child or a young teen.
Definitely. And I mean, not even just with the apps that we offer. I mean, in school, they're placing bets on their own games, and we know that they're not supposed to, you know, but they're doing a lot of their own gambling on the side that people don't even know about. So
yeah, you know, I'm glad you brought that up, because there was an issue, I believe it was a couple of weeks ago, pertaining to professional, I think it was either baseball or basketball, where the referees were betting on games, and some of the players were betting on games. And I think professional sports needs to do a better job on getting these seminars out to these folks, especially the new kids that are coming in as rookies for gambling, and just to make sure it doesn't happen.
Definitely.
Because they're handed a big check. When they're drafted, you're an automatic millionaire today. And, you know, you see what happened in Los Angeles with that pitcher and, you know, the interpreter, and how much money he was grabbing, 17 mil.
Yeah.
You know, that's not pocket change. That's a big nut when you're gambling.
Definitely.
So let me ask you about these programs. Are these programs programs that are going to come back every year, or they're ongoing?
The hope is that we can, you know, if they are successful, we definitely hope to do this every year if we possibly can. With one of these challenges that will be the webinar, we will recycle that each year. That definitely will, because that affects the schools, you know, the coaches, teachers, parents. I will say that the schools in Rhode Island, the colleges specifically, are noticing that there is a problem on campus, and so they've reached out to us as well as our ICPG to do presentations for their schools, to do like gambling one-on-one. You know, what are the signs? What are the symptoms? How do we know that this is an issue? So the schools are very well understanding that we need to get someone in here to talk to the professors, to the students, and we've done that quite a few times for a couple of the colleges, where sometimes the professors have even, offered extra credit to the students or as an assignment to get them to come to the class to be able to just get this one-on-one information,
Right.
because they understand the severity of the problem.
What about CEUs when you do a training? Are folks getting CEUs that need, obviously, the CEUs to
Yes.
keep their license?
Yeah, so I've definitely started to do that because we do know that a lot of clinical professionals do want CEUs, and because this is something so new per se to people, a lot of people are interested. I mean, we've been getting a lot of calls for people asking to do presentations and asking if CEUs are attached to it as well. So I've been working on doing that as well and getting some CEUs attached to it so that it makes it worth their while as well.
Yeah, it's a good thing to get more people interested. This way here, people know where to turn if in fact they get in trouble.
Exactly.
So how did you come up with these?
It was a team effort. It was, between, again, PGS, the lottery, RICPG, Bally's, and Epic Global Solutions. We worked as a team. We've actually been working for almost a year together. And at first, we were just meeting monthly, just coming up with ideas together, figuring out, all right, what do we do? What's the problem? Where do we start? And as ideas started kind of flowing, just kind of put it all together and focused on these 4 things. And it just kind of flourished from there.
Took off.
Yeah.
So you're going to run these programs until the end of March, right? Do you have another maybe 4 or a couple March till June or July and then more down the road?
Possibly. I mean, definitely the Mentor Challenge is something that, again, is going to be recorded. So we'll be able to show that. We also have the Leaders Challenge that we're doing, and I think that one might be recorded as well, that we can show individuals. The Messaging Challenge that we have with the students for the contest, whatever they have, we'll definitely be able to promote some of that stuff throughout the year. Again, presentations. I mean, anyone can call us. Any presentation that we do is free of charge. We don't charge anyone to do any of that. So we're always available to give as much education to whoever is seeking it and wants it. One thing we want to do also is for National Screening Day, which I believe this year is March 11th. We want to go out to a couple of behavioral health facilities that will allow us to and just sit there for an hour and do on-demand screening with people, just to have that presence so people can ask the question, like, what are you doing here? What are you here for? And we can start having some of those conversations with people.
Well, education, education, education. We're going to take a break. You're watching Recovery TV, and I'm your host, Shanta Soni, with Desiree Soto of the Rhode Island Lottery. We'll be right back after these messages.
And now, back to Recovery TV with your host, John J. Tassoni Jr. Recovery TV is made possible by our supporting sponsors and our title sponsor, AdCare. Now, here's John and today's guest.
Welcome back to Recovery TV, and I'm your host, Shanta Soni. Desiree Soto is in the house from Rhode Island State Lottery, and she's with the Problem Gambling Services. Welcome, and thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
What you do. So why don't we give my viewers a website, telephone numbers, if they have a problem with gambling, how do we get in touch with you?
So there's quite a few. They can always dial 211, and that will lead them to the Problem Gambling Services. They can also call 877-9-GAMBLE. That's the national hotline. That'll lead them to 211 to us as well. Or simply Google search Problem Gambling Services. That'll lead them to the website and to us if they want an assessment, or if they just have some questions. They can always talk to someone live at any time of day, 24/7, 365. If they just have a question or just, self-exclusion, that kind of a thing too, they can always speak to John on the helpline. And we will help them out. And then also for the Game Changer, if anyone is interested, we can answer any questions, and that's rigamechanger.com for that one.
Well, we've got a lot of things going on, Desiree, and I want to thank you for what you do. I want to thank Rhode Island Lottery for what they do. Bally's, obviously, as a partner. We're all good here in Rhode Island. Thank God.
Definitely, yes.
So next week, folks, my guest will be Mr. Tommy Joyce. He's the chairman of Problem Gambling, and we'll see you next week. If you see something, say something. Don't be afraid. See you next week.